It's finally the end of December. It means that it's the time for another poorly scripted video. I mean a Q&A. And today I will discuss about the most important book that you will ever write or read, however you wanna take it. And for people who are already familiar with this term, I'm talking about this kind of bad boys, journals. In case you thought I was lying, well, I've got its friends here. To be fair, there are like 4 years of journaling, and right now I'm working towards creating the journal for next year. And see, there are many methods of journaling, and if you want to journal as a time scheduler, then you use a bullet journal. What I do is more of a brain dump, mind dump, and also a place where I can transcribe everything that I have learned during that year. Let's not drag this for too long. I will share with you how I'm doing it, and then I will move on to the next part of the Q&A. So you're not a journaling guy or girl. That's fine, let's not dwell on that. I'm not either. But this one has proved to be so helpful to me. So I start all of them by stating obviously the year and some top strengths, some things that define me, my personality traits. I've been talking about this in my past videos and how I came to realizing my personality traits. There are so many tests, so many things that you can do, so many resources, so I won't dive into them because this would be 30 minutes long. Those 2 pages are basically who I am and what defines my year. So I have this quote that I absolutely love, which is: the price of anything is the amount of life that you exchange for it. And it's just an approximate quote, but for a master procrastinator such as myself, it's incredibly important to know that. So that's the beginning. Then I also have a page dedicated to my themes, and that's something that I took from CGP Grey. It's not an original idea. By the way, nothing that I've been sharing with you are original ideas, and mostly 99% of ideas that everybody's sharing with you, they're not original, which also mean that they worked in the past. Otherwise, people would stop sharing them. But this one seems to be quite a novel idea about themes, and I will link to CGP's Grey video and his discussion on themes in the description if you're interested in that. But basically, I have a page before starting my sections because yes, my journal is split into 5 sections. Let me go to a brief history of it. Initially I had 9 sections, then I had 7 sections, then I had 6 last year, and this year I will have 5. The idea is to narrow down the sections as much as possible and to have as much freedom as possible. And see, there is this lovely girl on YouTube, I cannot remember her name, it's something, the YouTube channel, it's something with Lime, and she's doing an amazing job with her bullet journal, and she has so much patience. But I'm not that kind of person. So for me, it had to be something that I could just run with it, that would take like 30 minutes to set up, and then I could just basically just mind dump onto the blank pages for the rest of the year. So the first section is a section on wealth. And I have to say it, that you don't have to copy these sections, you should make your own sections. I'm just saying that you should have like 5 sections and that's it. So I'm not going to explain either of them to make this as brief as possible, but the first one is wealth. My second section is about books and book summaries. So I remember the best when I summarize something. And if that's not your type of learning, that's fine. But each year and last year as well, I had a number of books that I wanted to read. So that's how I'm keeping track of all of them. So that's what I love to do in that section. A third section would be a section of what I learned. And it looks like this. It's courses, it's how-tos, it's interests. And I also keep few pages in the back of it for some sort of mind dump. For example, there is something that's on my mind, some really interesting questions, something that I really want to look into. But right now I'm working on something else and I don't want to interrupt myself. I don't want to break the flow. So I'm just taking my agenda, I'm noting it down, noting the thing that was brought to my attention, and then I will return to it to search for it. And that's great. It's done wonders with my way of, splitting into multiple tasks. because I tend to multitask a lot, and I kind of reduce that, and I love it. So I definitely recommend keeping that kind of a section where you can label it as freedom section, or you can label it as the section of your searches, the internet searches, whatever. It can be anything from George Washington to Hamilton to the Nutcracker, because it's close to Christmas, so why not? But yeah, that's a great section. The fourth section, and it's quite easy, it's a section on path, purpose and career. I think that each one of us should have this section in their journal, and maybe this is not negotiable. And it's the same as with the next section, which is the section on health. So if I were to recommend having two sections, those two would be definitely. So you need to have a path, you need to know what you want to do in the future in order to achieve it. And see, this is where the beauty of this thing lies. It's not just a prop for a video, it's not just me trying to have another system in my life to satisfy my need for control or anything that some psychologists might say. I'm just joking. It's just how I'm trying to progress to life and try to achieve new things. So in my book from 2020, I hit things with an accuracy which doubled from the one in 2019, and I could see this trend over years. The first time when I did it, 2017, okay, it was brutal. I had around 40 goals and I think I hit 2 of them. So from that, I'm now at around 50%, and that's because also the goals, by the way, you should do a goal setting exercise. There are people who are doing it. There is one for free on YouTube. It's Jim's Rohn exercise. Obviously you can do some more advanced ones, but I'm not going to recommend any of them. There will be people trying to sell you things. I'm trying to just offer some free resources, but in case you don't have any goals, just Google Jim Rohn's seminar on goal setting and try to follow it. It takes roughly 1 hour, and after that you will have some goals. And what you do with those goals, you put them at the end of your journal. But before that, I also have a page which is very interesting, and it's called the 30-day challenges. So I decided to live my life in 30-day challenges, and it was great. I managed to hit 4 out of 12, and I know this sounds low, but damn, those are so difficult. To do something which is difficult for 30 days in a row, it's quite tough. Which is why for next year I will alternate. I will have something extremely difficult and then something easy, such as only 1 hour of screen time. That's something easy, that's something that I can easily do. And I can alternate it with learning a language up to B1 or B2, something like that, which is clearly a challenge in 1 month. It can be a challenge in 1 year, but still, it's great, it's lots of fun, and it gamifies a bit the process, and that's why I'm doing it. So now to the juiciest part of this journal. It's the side with the goals, and that's how it looks like. But usually what I would do is to split them into 3 parts. For next year, I will only use 2, because 2 is more than enough. And I will have an amount of goals that would be 80% of where I'm focusing my attention, and then the other 20% will just be my rest and play goals. So the 80% of my goals will be career related, wealth related, and growth related. So those are the keywords. And in the past, I had 20 goals in this part of my journal. For next year, I will put 15 only. As with everything else, I'm trying in this journal to keep things as simple as possible. So I will limit my number of goals. I will make them slightly more difficult. Pretty simple. 80% of things should be, again, career and growth, and then 20% just rest and play. So this part on journaling was the first question that I was asked. How do you journal? The second thing was, why are you not talking in your native language? And yeah, okay, I will admit those are the only 2 questions that I was asked, but the second question is much more difficult, and I kind of dread responding to it, because I don't want to go into the history and I don't want to start any kind of arguments. Being at the crossroad of history, my country, well, it was the clash of so many powers. And I myself have multiple ethnicities. I have one dominant one, and then I have three smaller ones which are still in the double digits. So yeah, for me it just feels natural to speak the language that most people understand. And I know that would be Chinese, but I'm thinking of the language that would be the most understood throughout the countries. So most people in most countries can understand a bit of English. So it's great if I'm able to express myself in that, and maybe I can reach people who are kilometers away. And that for me is, you cannot put a price on that, right? That for me is priceless. Obviously, still doing mistakes. I don't speak the language, I don't speak English on a regular basis right now. And this also means that I use a lot of filler words, I use a lot of expressions that maybe are outdated, but still it's something that I thoroughly enjoy and I want to keep doing for as long as I will be doing videos. And that leads me to my final part, third part. And no, it's not a goodbye. I'm not saying this will be my last video, but I won't be posting weekly as I did in the past 3 or 4 months. I wanted to try something. It was incredibly interesting. It was incredible for my own mental health and for my happiness, being able to share things. Sometimes I had this amazing feedback on some videos from some of my friends. They were like, yeah, it sounded so great. Those ideas made so much sense to me. And there weren't many people who said that, but it doesn't matter. Like, even if one people think that what I'm doing is meaningful or it's helpful, I would still keep on doing. That aside, I'm switching some things in my own life in the next year, so there will be a lot of shuffling things. So I will be posting 2 times per month something that I'm researching a bit, and maybe 1 time per month a Q&A or some sort of silly video where I'm just talking freely like I'm doing right now. All I wanted to say is that it's been probably, again, the highlight of my year. There are so many good things that have happened and so many bad things that have happened, and I don't try to downplay this. I know lots of people are trying right now to say that this year was a great year. It wasn't, and the loss of lives, that's probably the roughest thing of them all. So I want to give you my full support if you're going through a hard time, if you've lost somebody, because I know how that is. And clearly this was a tough year, but that there is no way to hide it. But tough years create tougher people. So from that perspective, I'm slightly happy that we managed to make it through this year, and I think we made it a bit stronger. I saw a lot more empathy this year, so that's something that I'm incredibly grateful for. I saw it on LinkedIn, I saw it on the people who were reaching out to see if I'm still well. So I appreciate that, and I appreciate all of you. I appreciate having 2,000 people who get pinged each time when I decide to do one of those crazy rants or one of my silly videos. And I want this to become something better in the future. I want to devote a bit more of my time and resources to scrap things better, to create things which are of a higher quality. Right now, things are alright, things are okay, but they still require lots of time, and I think that the quality after spending 20 hours on a video is so low. So I'm aiming to improve on that. I won't go through animations. I think I like this more. I think I like filming myself and talking to you, I mean, not myself. Yeah, thanks a lot for this year, and we will meet each other again next year, twice per week, maybe sometimes even once per month. Not making any promises, but it will be fun, and I'm looking forward to anything that the next year will bring. Until then, take care and have a great rest of the holidays. See ya.